You're listening to the Cars of Carlisle Network, podcast episode number 76, Glen Beck, Rally Team Limer.
Cars of Carlisle is your favorite internationally downloaded podcast about all things automotive. Darren and his CFC team are ever searching for interesting automotive happenings, real stories about real car people, and fun features to inform and entertain you. Each week, the Cars of Carlisle crew brings you show topics ranging from car shows to team adventures to auto racing weekends to behind-the-scenes human interest stories from car nuts that live across town, across the country, or even across the globe. Come join the road trip.
Today, ride along to Palmyra, Pennsylvania to meet Rally North American veteran Glen Beck. Over the years, Glen has piloted his late model Mustang thousands of miles, crisscrossing the United States many times. In his Team Limer Stang, yes, the team name matches the paint color, Glen has amazed so many significant memories with his Rally North America teammates. In fact, Glen is extremely proud of how his fellow rally drivers have rallied behind him. Glen is devoted to supporting charities, and his Ford sports a Fighting Bee decal emblazed with Bailey's team. Since meeting Bailey in 2013, Glen works to support his young fan and the rare blood disorder she fights, Black Fan Anemia. It's time to meet veteran rally driver Glen Beck. So, let's get revved up!
Hello and welcome back, Dreamers, to your favorite informative automotive podcast. I am your trusted host, Darren, and thank you for joining us again this week. We are so proud and glad to have you, along with everyone as Cougars, as fans of Cars of Carlisle Network, and we certainly appreciate that sharing this with friends, family, car clubs, anyone that you meet. We want to really get the word out and continue to grow our car culture and our car community, all thanks to you. It is truly about people. Let's see what's happening with the AACA Museum in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Some upcoming events to talk about for the AACA Museum in Hershey. Corvette Racing Weekend will be presented by Michelin. It's slated for October 25th. This event features a variety of Corvette racing speakers and activities. Visit aacamuseum.org for details. Advanced registration is required to attend this event. Also, Trunk or Treat, which will be held on Sunday, October 27th. Kids can dress in their Halloween costume and enjoy an exciting afternoon of family fun. Let the amusement begin at crafting tables where kids will decorate their own trunk or treat bags using the various car and Halloween stamps, stickers, markers, and more. Gather up your miniature ghosts and goblins and head over to the AACA Museum in Hershey for a bit of Halloween fun. All visitors 12 and under will be eligible to participate in the AACA Museum's Trunk or Treat program included with museum admission. They offer a special $9.50 admission price for everyone. Participants will also be able to hunt for a variety of trunk or treat spots within the main and lower levels of the museum while they enjoy all the wonderful museum vehicles on view. Treats will be given to each child 12 and under at each of these locations throughout the museum, provided by the Hershey Company. Halloween-themed videos will be played in the indoor drive-in theater, and a display of hearse vehicles will be available for viewing so everyone can get into the spirit. And lastly, join the AACA Museum for their Autos and Ale. This is the 10th anniversary of this event being held on November 1st. It's one of the region's longest-running craft brew beer events with more than 30 brewers sampling dozens of great beers. Mad Chef will brew an exclusive Big Bad Orange high-octane IPA exclusive for this event, inspired by the AACA Museum's 1969 Big Bad Orange AMX. Live entertainment by Smooth Like Clyde, food stations, vendors, best wings contests all help to make this evening a fun event that they look forward to all year long. There is also a raffle of brewer items, t-shirts, growlers, gift certificates. All of that will benefit the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. VIP tickets can get you early access to all the brewers from 6 to 7, along with being able to stay through the conclusion of the event. Regular event tickets allow access to all the festivities from 7 to 10 p.m. AACA Museum wants you to be responsible and not to drink and drive, so they encourage designated drivers, Uber, or staying over at the Spring Hill Suites next door. Visit autosandales.com for tickets and full event details. This event sells out fast, so do not wait. Get your tickets now.
And as far as this week's trivia question, I really wanted to do a shout out to when talking with Glen in his garage and at his home. It was really important to to him to let me know that he has a picture that we'll put out on Instagram that's down in his man cave. And with that, it's just about, it contains all the Rally North America memorabilia going back through the years. And for him, he's been a veteran of the RNA since 2013, as you heard. So 6+ years, he's been a member and a key contributor to the whole Rally North America family. And with that, he just wanted to let everybody know that he has driven what is known as the loneliest road in America, which is US 50. And there was something that had happened. It came up in 2018 that he had a particular health matter that kept him off the road. But he wanted to put a special shout out to the Rally North America colleagues and family members, all his friends, that during that event when he was at home and could not travel due to this medical situation, that everyone through the Facebook feed, they could continue to share with Glen well wishes and pictures and keeping him involved in the adventure day by day, hour by hour. And what it really did is he was really surprised by the fact that everyone put so much effort into that. And they presented a few weeks back, once everyone returned from that rally trip, with a banner, and people had signed it, and each of the teams had really shown that they had been thinking about him and wished he could have been part of that with them. So a special thanks to everyone who rallied, pun intended, behind Glen during that challenging time. So this week's trivia question is, I'm going to say this: US 50, the loneliest road in America. Between what cities in the US does US 50 run from terminus to terminus? That answer at the end of this episode. So let's head to Palmyra and sit down and talk with Glen in his garage about his Mustang and his project car.
The Rally Dixie. That started in Noblesville, Indiana, ended in Fort Walton Beach, Florida about 3 days later. Fun trip. My uncle was my navigator for the trip.
Okay.
He's just a couple of years older than me, and he's a real car guy. He's been a car guy forever. So we had a great time. We had a great time on that. But he's not really into the feeling of pressure with the rally, the feeling to perform, to get someplace in a hurry, and so on. You know.
Yeah.
So keep talking about doing a rally. I asked him a couple of times if he wanted to do a repeat. He said, no way.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
What about, obviously this year you're focused on the whole Team Bailey and Bailey, who we all got to meet while we were at Camp Sunshine. You want to talk a little bit about that for the Cubers? Sure.
Yeah, it was in the run-up to the 2013 rally where we first raised money for Camp Sunshine. It's where I first had my first encounter with Bailey. This rally was for kids. You know, it was about raising money for Camp Sunshine, a retreat for families that have a child with life-threatening illness, and it's all about the kids and trying to give them a good life with what they have. So yeah, I was pretty intent in raising some decent amount of money, and I was a little over $2,000 when my wife came home from her exercise class one night and said, "Hey, my best friend was just telling me about this little girl who is her granddaughter that's going to this funny camp someplace in Maine with her family sometime in July." I said, "Well, it wouldn't happen to be Camp Sunshine, would it?" "Yeah, I think that's it." I said, "Well, when are they going there?" Because I still hadn't made the connection. She said, "Oh, last week of June." Whoa! That was the week we were going to be cruising through town. So long story short, through Deb's friend, who was Bailey's grandma, I met up with the family. They came up in the area for a visit with the grandma, and I was invited over and met the family. Some of the sweetest people you'd ever want to meet. I had a nice time with them. Now, I understand these people they've got every right to be pissed at the whole world. You know,
Sure.
They've got a child with a serious problem.
Yes.
They could lose this child.
Yes.
This child has seen some of her friends pass through the disease. So, but through all that, the people are the sweetest people you want to meet. We had maybe 15, 20-minute conversations. Nice, friendly conversation. I said, we sat the kids in the car and took pictures and all this. And by that point, I already had the B logo thing. Scott Spielman was all about that, so he got that arranged for me. So, I said my goodbyes, and I'm walking down the sidewalk, and hear this pitter-patter little feet behind me. And here's Bailey with her arms up in the air, running up behind me, and jumped up in my arms and gave me a big hug. Mom and I about lost it right there. So, flash forward then to Camp Sunshine. It was the end of it. It was the last checkpoint for a rally, and we're driving down this gravel lane, and there's volunteers are out there cheering us on. We go down a little further. There are these signs stuck in the ground with our team names on them. The kids had written our team names on these signs. Like, again, you start to get a little misty-eyed because you kind of relate to what's going to happen. Sure. Pulled into the parking lot, backed my car into a spot. I got out of my car, and there's like 100 people standing around applauding and cheering. I'm looking around like, who are they talking about? So I saw the parents right there, and I said, "Oh, where's Bailey?" They pointed off in the distance, and now walking down this road, just kicking stones, walking down this dirt road. Here comes Bailey. I yelled, "Hey, Bailey!" And she looked up at me and ran to me and jumped in my arms and gave me another big hug. A moment that melts your heart, Yep. So that was a neat day. Just that experience, and then seeing some of the other families and talking with them about their situations and so on. So yeah, it was a great experience. Ever since then, I've had to be in my car since then. It's only been off for this past winter when I had the car had a paint correction done because it really needed it. But yeah, the bees on my car, it's a keeper. Been Bailey's team ever since.
Yeah, and I think that people equate that with Team Limer and everything else. Do you want to talk a little bit about the platform, the Mustang itself?
Oh, sure. It's a 2006 Mustang GT. Bought it new in March of 2006. I live dangerously close to CJ Pony Parts.
Yes.
So CJ Pony Parts was still doing sales and installing parts during most of this time. So it was over the period of about 4 years where I throw a little money at it every year, freshen it up, do this, that, the other thing. And, every year it's almost like a new car because there's something different about it, just improving the character of the whole thing.
You put some miles in that car too, right?
It's almost 150,000 miles.
That's,
So, but it doesn't see a lot of daily drive use.
Yeah.
Some.
Yeah.
But I typically have it sitting all winter, and it's a good bit in the summer too. Goes to shows, and then of course the rallies. Oh my gosh, the rallies. Yeah.
Have you had a favorite rally?
A favorite.
You started with Dixie, you said.
Yeah. US 50.
Okay.
The loneliest road in America is probably my favorite experience through the whole rally. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it last year when we did the US 50. So to kind of make up for that, I got copies of the checkpoints, and my wife and I made the trip on our own. We have a daughter that lives in San Francisco, so it was time to visit the granddaughter or the daughter and the grandkids anyway. So we laid out the whole trip. Tony helped a lot. We hit the high points of the rally.
Good.
Day one, we left at 4:30 in the morning, and by 4 in the afternoon, we were riding the ride in the St. Louis Arch, in the Gateway Arch.
It's kind of a claustrophobic thing. I feel like you're in an egg. I remember that.
Yeah, duck, because you're going to hit your head if you don't. Yeah, but it's a neat experience.
What makes US 50 the loneliest? How does it earn that title, the loneliest road?
The loneliest road in America? As I understand it, it came about by a review by the AAA.
Okay.
They said something to the effect that their report on the road was that there's nothing of value here. You need survival skills in order to manage this road. Do not go this way. Okay? Well, Nevada Tourism grabbed that and said, hey, we got a thing here. So they did this whole Loneliest Road in America campaign at selected places of towns along the way. You can pick up a little tour booklet where you can get things stamped. and each town will stamp your book. And if you get all the stamps, I think it's a minimum of 5 stamps out of like 8 or 10. You send it into Nevada Tourism, and they'll send you a plaque and this and that. I think it's pretty cool.
That is really cool.
But it just keeps drawing me back.
Is it just because it's open and without, it's
open,
unadulterated?
It is open, it's desolate, it's hot, it's dry, it's got this foreboding feeling about it, but at the same time, there's so much scenery. Just so much scenery. Never saw so much sage in my life. My God, it's billions of plants of sage out there. And when it's hot out there, it's got this otherworldly feel about it. Yeah.
But all kind of pure. You know, there's not a lot of...
Very much so, untouched.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely untouched.
That's probably the draw of it.
Except for this ribbon of two-lane asphalt going across the desert.
So, would it be fair, and you don't have to answer this one at all, Glenn, but you may have exceeded 60, 65 miles an hour at some point.
Might have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, the car's got 410 gears, so it's got not much. It'll get to triple digits, but it's straining. You don't want to do that for an extended period of time.
Those are low gears, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, anything else from, you wanted to mention about Team Bailey, looking ahead to 2020's, the upcoming rally, or anything that you want to put out there?
A lot of people are into the rally because of the sightseeing and the competitive nature of it.
Sure.
Honestly, for me, that's definitely there. The camaraderie is definitely there, but the whole sense of being able to do something for some people while you're doing something you really enjoy. Yeah. That just wraps it up right there.
That's an excellent synopsis.
Yeah. And that's part of the mission statement of Rally North America. Yeah, I don't recall exactly how it's worded, but it's all about trying to do something good through the automotive hobby. And they've sure latched onto something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we had a tremendous experience. Things that we'll never forget from it. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, especially even with Auburn and stuff. What is so with Bailey's? Did you want to say anything about? And this can be edited out if you don't, but.
Bailey has Diamond Black Fan Anemia.
Yeah.
She is doing quite well these days on a steroid regimen. Unfortunately, the steroid regimen is stunting her growth. If you've seen her, she's 11 years old. She's got the stature of maybe 6. Pretty thin. And she's bordering on hyperactivity, so she's taking ADD meds while she's going to school. So she's... It's a kind of tough situation to deal with. Talking to the parents, they are very into Camp Sunshine because they're learning about the progression of the disease and how to treat things, or how to recognize changes in the condition and how to deal with them as they come. So they're looking forward to, what might come down the road. It's one of the great assets of Camp Sunshine. But for now, Bailey is a spunky, bright little kid. She's a great kid.
Yeah.
I had a couple of conversations with her. We're not, and it's not like we see each other every week, but for a time they were doing blood drives in her name, so I would go to the blood drives and meet up with the family and chat with her and take her for a little walk around the compound and that kind of thing. Yeah.
But those hugs probably really fuel you as far as whenever, if you're in those final weeks and you're trying to pull together those final dollars for the, just knowing what it means to her.
And that's probably another key thing about the rally. The excitement doesn't start when you arrive at the start line. No. The excitement builds. I mean, we're getting juiced already about 2020. We're starting to hear we heard where the start is. Trying to scope out where some of the checkpoints might be.
Well, I actually have a meeting with Tony next Thursday night.
Okay.
And he promised to tease a little of 2020. So listen to the next Tony episode. He told me he's going to deliver some. So
I will. That's going to be awesome. We do know we need a passport, so I'm looking at the maps saying, what's up in Canada that we need to... Yeah, some of our Canadian teams will be happy that we're getting up there again.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the one team was the Wolverine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deadpool.
In Deadpool,
Yeah.
Team.
They were doing the Elvis impersonation thing for a couple of years. But
We heard that they did Canadian Mounties a
That's
year.
right.
At
That's
one
right.
point,
They did.
yeah.
That goes back a couple of years.
They were
Yeah.
brilliant.
You gotta love that personality. That's pretty cool.
Brilliant.
Yeah, they're great.
Well, Scott's leaning on your other project here. Do you want to talk about the Daytona?
Sure. Well, I've had a thing for kit cars since the early 70s. I was looking at the fiber fab cars, and there was one in particular called the Amante GT that was based on most of them were that I'm interested in were based on a full-size VW Beetle platform, not the cut down one the dune buggy was. And you could do various things with the driveline. You could do stock UW. You could swap in a Corvair, which would get you up to about 200 horsepower. There was one trick that one outfit was selling. Crown Manufacturing was selling the parts where you could actually flip the transaxle upside down, and bell housing let you rotate the engine right side up again, and the camshafts were ground backwards, so that you could run a mid-engine Corvair in this thing. So I had this thing all laid out.
Wow.
I needed about $3,500, and I didn't have the money. I didn't have the time, so it never happened.
Okay.
A couple years ago, I saw I was going to be retiring pretty soon, and I thought, well, I'm going to need something to do, so here we are.
Yeah.
A friend was selling his 96 Lincoln Mark 8, which happened to have the old independent rear suspension. That differential case right there, and those spindles are out of that Lincoln.
No kidding.
Everything else is factory 5.
Okay.
It's a loose replica of the Cobra Daytona Coupe. They call it the Type 65. Generally, as it's built, it's supposed to have a small block Ford in it. I'm changing things up quite a bit. I want to run this car in a rally, so I want this thing to be not a track car, but a street car. Now they say don't track your street car and don't street your track car, but I think I'm testing that in both ways.
Yep.
It's if you build the kit the way it comes, it's definitely a track car, but people have thrown some sound deadening into it and done the necessary things to get it plated, and off they go. I'm going a few steps beyond that. Over there sits a Coyote out of a 2015 Mustang that a friend helped me source. That's going to go in there. To accommodate that, I need to do some changes in the sheet metal around the foot boxes. I had to move the motor mount pedestals forward about 3 inches. Had to move and that gave me the opportunity to move the firewall forward about a couple of inches.
Okay.
Which gives me a little more room behind the dash.
Sure.
I dropped the trunk floor about 6 inches. And put a custom fuel tank in there so I can get a little more luggage in there, and at the same time a little more fuel capacity.
Both of those are very key for the rally.
Very key for the rally. You can see there's a ton of dynamite all over the place.
Very much so. Yeah.
There's a couple of other things. Oh, there's also it's lizard skin on the outside and dynamite on the inside.
Okay.
So I should be about as well protected as you can get. But I have some Dyna liner and some Dyna deck, 2 other Dynamat products that that I'll be adding as time gets as it gets a little more toward completion. That'll really quiet this thing down pretty much. Another big change was the undercar exhaust. These things are intended to be built with side pipes.
Yeah, that's how it's usually.
But the side pipes coming in that they're right, about 2 feet away from your ear. So to keep things quiet, undercar exhaust. I followed a few tips from a guy that makes a living helping people build their cars. His name's Mark Doherty. Goes by the moniker of the Traveling Builder. He's done undercar exhaust on a couple of these, and I followed his lead and put the routing for the pipes in, and turned the car over to Mark a couple of weeks ago, and he actually put the exhaust system in for me.
Really sharp.
Yeah, that's going to work out well. I'm not quite sure where the tailpipe's going to come out, but I think maybe the only choice I have is to punch it right through the tail.
Well, yeah.
That'll be interesting.
And that'll make it uniquely yours, too.
Another thing uniquely mine is the windows. The car basically comes with the door skin slides over the door frame from front to back, just kind of like like an envelope slipping
Yeah.
over the door frame.
Yeah.
And then the window is a steel frame you bolt to the top of the door with a little plastic
Right.
piece in there and a little slider.
Yeah.
That's typical race car stuff. That's the window. Well, that's not going to work.
No.
Not when you're hoping to do 800 miles in a day. You need to
Right.
get some ventilation in the car.
Right.
So my thing from the get-go is power windows.
Okay.
That turned out to be a huge effort because the door isn't tall enough to hold a window that's going to
Go all the way
fill
up.
the glass area. So I actually had to extend the door down. Sounds easy, right?
Not so much.
Well, you drop the door sill. That's the steel. I built a completely custom door frame. Got parts from Specialty Power Windows to so I have a window regulator that's going to make the thing go up and down.
Wow.
That was the easy part. The hard part is the fiberglass. I started getting into the fiberglass work well, you see, I cut and bonded some pieces together, and I wanted to reinforce them by laying some fiberglass mat on the back side. And when I started doing that, I discovered that I'm allergic to something in the resins.
Oh boy.
It put me in the ER twice before I finally figured out what the
Holy
heck
cow.
was getting there. So I can't do that. So I got to farm that out. So the body work is going to be a big nut to crack. That's why it's not going to be on the road in 6 months, I don't think.
Do you have a realistic ETA? Is this a 2021 rally car?
That could well be.
Okay.
I think that's within the realm of possibility. Yeah.
Okay.
I have the engine. By end of next week, I expect to have the engine, clutch, and transmission all assembled and sitting in the car for final.
Outstanding.
Then I need to spend a wad of money for the Coyote control pack from Ford, and I think then it's time for a good pizza and beer party and ask a whole bunch of people over here and help me get the first start done.
Sure.
Meanwhile, I'm working on the chassis. Brakes are all plumbed, wiring's all done. Once I get the weight of the engine in the car, then I can get the right height set and do at least a rough alignment on it. All kinds of other odds and ends. Once I get somebody, and I think I have a line on somebody that's going to help me with this, to reinforce the body from the backside and put the body on the car and do whatever fitting needs to be done.
Okay.
That's going to take some time because I'll have to build the mating parts for the door closures, where the weather strip's going to go, and all that. So that's going to take some time, but possibly next spring I might be able to get it to a body shop and have them start doing the body shop from the outside perspective. Yeah, it's been a dream. Like I said,
It's been a labor of love for years.
Oh yeah. It's one of those things. I love doing it. I probably love doing it more than I love driving it, honestly.
Wow.
But I can't wait to get this thing around VIR for some hot laps and around.
Oh my! Yes.
Oh yeah.
I love when you told us offline about the color you're going to go with. You want to share that with the cubers?
Oh yeah, I guess so. By the way, what the heck is a cuber?
Well, that's a fair question because we described it a couple times in early episodes, but it was for us it was Cars of Carlisle Community.
Okay.
So it's triple C cubed. We just started saying cubers.
That makes sense. I was wondering where the extra C
Cars
came
of Carlisle Community.
Okay, yeah. I'm kind of married to the color green.
Yeah. It suits you.
Run the Team Limer, with the Legend Line Mustang GT. But that color, as much as I like it, it kind of goes flat in some conditions, and this is going to be an in-your-face car. So I want it to be an in-your-face green. I'm looking at the green on the 2014 Viper, Striker Green.
Yeah.
That with a nice satin black stripe.
It's going to be so cool.
And the iconic Daytona tail, half body color, half stripe color. Yeah. I already have the wheels over there. They're a nice satin black. Yeah, it'll be a good look.
It will. It will definitely be so.
Kind of scare the heck out of me.
It's exciting. I want it to be done now. I'm admiring your parking brake handle. The custom parking brake handle.
The one that comes with the kit is intended to mount on the floor on the passenger side. When you're belted in, you can't reach it.
Yeah.
That's the parking brake. I got it from eBay. It's out of a 2005 or 6 Mustang. What I like about it is it nestles into the tunnel. All that sticks out is the handle.
Yeah.
So this is one of these custom things where you do one little thing and then it gets another change.
Yep.
So I made a custom mount for the parking brake, put it right where it worked. It fits in very nicely.
Yeah,
so a custom mount in there. Now the cable comes down out of that to a junction. Now I'm trying to match that up to the e-brake cables that come with the car.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the terminators are wrong. They don't hook up. I mean, the parts on the ends of the cable don't mate up to the parts on the end of the parking brake. And the bracket's at the wrong place. And the cables are too long.
It sounds like one of my projects.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with the undercar exhaust, I can't just route it where you would normally go under the A-arm because it's going to be right against the exhaust pipe. So I got to weave it up above.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a rabbit hole. You just start one thing and it opens
exactly.
up.
One thing leads to another, and it's been the way of this whole project from the get-go.
Wow.
I'm kind of a frustrated engineer. I wanted to be an engineer in the first place. Yeah. Okay.
Now, have you found like a Daytona forum or anything that you can at least?
Oh gosh, yeah.
So you have at least others that are going through something similar. You can go online at night.
Yeah.
Ask questions.
In fact, that kind of leads into a backdoor through a rally story.
Okay.
2016 rally started in Billings, Montana. We did the Pacific Northwest.
Oh wow.
Big Sky rally. Ended in Portland, Oregon. And my navigator and I decided we were going to do some of the Pacific Coast Highway while we were out there. And again, I'm driving down to San Francisco to visit with my daughter. So we did 2 days in the Pacific Coast Highway. And my navigator flew home from there, and I stayed, and my wife flew out, and we spent some quality time with the daughter. But while we were there, I reached out to a couple of people that I know out there that have these cars on the FF Cars forum. So I reached out to a couple of them, and the one guy said, "Hey, you're in town? We'll do a barbecue." So we had, I want to say 5 or 6 completed Daytonas and his East Coast Mustang.
Wow.
All out there in near Palo Alto. Yeah. So there were some guys that I'd been chatting with on the forum for a long while, and got to meet the people face to face and swap stories.
Nothing better.
Well, that's a great resource. Yeah,
it's great. Yeah, I have a build thread on FF Cars too. Building Coupe 674. That's the number.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been throwing stuff out there about the trials and tribulations and the hopes and aspirations of this whole thing.
Sure.
Yeah, it's been a treat.
That's excellent.
And I can't let this go without mentioning I've had a lot of help along the way. Bill Toomas in particular is really helpful in scouting out some parts for me and helped giving me some guidance along the way. And Bob Blanton, God bless the man.
He's an incredible guy.
I mentioned it at the charity auction at the rally this year. I said the guy just lives to give,
That's exactly it. You did that. That was your that day one. You went up on stage and said that.
Yeah. Well, he earned it.
Yep. He's an angel on earth.
He stood right here in his garage a few months before. Well, January I think it was. He was helping me do some welding, and he said, "Glenn, I want to tell you." He said, "I'm going to put you in the front row." And he did. I about dropped when he said that, but I had a great fundraising year. I topped $4,000, my best ever, but he threw another $5,000 on top of it.
Yeah,
we ended up at $10,000.
He's a powerhouse. Yeah.
We ended up at $10,000.
Yeah.
So.
And again, that's a story of the car community. You know what I mean? It's
pulling together.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, we're fortunate to be part of it all.
Yep.
Well, we'll give you final word tonight. What would you like to be your parting shot?
Oh my gosh. I'll turn that around and ask you a question.
Please.
Why is it podcasters do so well in these rallies? You're the second set of podcasters that did a rally.
I don't know why that is.
And I don't know what it is, but you guys did real well.
We did fairly well. And I think, for me, part of it is to get into podcasting, you either know a lot about the subject or you are hungry to know more about it. I was born with racing fuel in my blood, and I eat and breathe cars. I was born into a family where my dad had a car in the garage or two under some state of restoration at any given time. There are photos of me crawling up inside a shell of a vehicle and everything. To me, going to car shows, being part of the whole culture is all I've ever known. And the podcast is a way to immerse yourself in that and to talk to like-minded individuals every week.
Yeah. So I'm gonna keep putting this off more and more and more. There's just more to talk about. I got probably one of the biggest two of the big influences in my life in getting into cars was, number one, I worked in a gas station from 1964 through 1972. Can you imagine the cars I saw roll through there?
Oh my, yes.
Oh yeah.
Especially the out-of-towners.
Oh, great stuff. And the C2 and C3 Corvettes, I remember when the Judge first came on, I thought, oh my God, what is this thing?
Well, that was the zenith, really, of American muscle years.
For sure. The first Mustang, and then I saw a 64 Mustang, 289, two-barrel, bench seat, 3 on the floor. Rare car, if you only had that one today. Yeah. The Bosses and the Mach 1s and hot rods and, everything. And back in those days, my dad kind of entertained his car demon at the same time. He had a pair of 67 Shelbys. Bought them as 3 or 4 year old beat up used cars. They weren't worth anything at the time. Fixed them up real nice. He had a 350 and a 500. I loved a 350.
That's a good make. That's a good engine for that.
Well balanced car. Yeah, that high-put 289 with the solid lifters clacking away. That was something else. And the 500 was just a brute. And the car he bought had been a drag racing car, so it came with all kinds of extra goodies and a second block and a wild cam, and he put a set of hooker headers on it and the exhaust. I don't know how big the exhaust was in that thing, but oh my God, that thing was a brute.
Well, you came from good DNA.
I was going to say, you didn't have a choice but to do
No, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, good stuff. So I've been into the whole Shelby thing. And there's a Shelby biography that was written back in the day. It was actually, I think, before the GT40 thing happened.
Okay.
So he wrote about his racing experiences, racing the Burke Gauge Maseratis and this and that, the other thing. And so read up on that, kind of got into the whole Cobra thing. And I mean, been following along with that ever since. Actually, another thing to mention, one of my favorite road trip audio books is Go Like Hell. It's about the Cobra Ferrari Wars.
Okay.
And the movie they're doing that's supposed to be coming out this fall, I think.
Yeah.
It's largely based on that book.
Okay.
And the tragic hero of the whole story is Ken Miles, and I really hope he gets his due in that movie, because he was instrumental in the development of all the cars.
Well, I just think it's a fascinating story that everybody was gunning for Enzo, and it was just that American ingenuity of we're gonna make this. It's almost like the moon landing. I mean, it's sort of, you put your mind to it, it'll happen.
Yeah, one interesting aspect about the Cobra Daytona Coupe in particular, it is, to my mind, I don't see an alternative. It is the last of the cars that was a successful race car that came out of a hot rodder's garage.
Okay.
Because immediately after that, it was big money, big corporations,
right,
and all that stuff going on. But the people that threw these together, I mean, Phil Remingtons and Peter Brocks and Carroll Shelby and I mean Ken Miles and the whole crew. Those were
that was grassroots.
That was grassroots, and it's never going to happen again.
No,
it was brilliant.
Yeah, we've had some pretty amazing vehicles come out of this country for sure.
Yep.
Well, anything else that you'd love to share with us this evening?
I think I'm about exhausted.
Well, you shared plenty of your evening with us, so Glenn, thank you. Very much grateful for your time. And we
Glad to do it.
And
been looking forward to it.
Okay, we are back here to Studio A. We owe you an answer to the trivia question, of which I posed, and that is US 50, also known as the loneliest road in America, spans between which two cities? So starting with the West Coast, we'll tell you that it spans between Sacramento, California, and stretches all the way east to the ocean, Atlantic Ocean that is, some nearly 3,000 miles away, at Ocean City, Maryland. And what's really interesting about this is, particularly in the Nevada portion of the road itself, that's where it crosses over extreme deserts. These desert valleys are separated by mountain ranges that really soar up and over the valley floor. In talking to Glenn, who since since the time he wasn't able to travel with the rally team, has driven parts of that towards Pueblo, Colorado. He has said that is most definitely one of the most gorgeous stretches of roads that he has been on. Certainly known for these extremely vast, desolate areas with truly no signs of civilization. You wouldn't even know that you're in a modern day with what's happening, especially in those desert regions. So if you ever want to do a transcontinental highway, US 50, the loneliest road in America, maybe one you should put on your bucket list. So before we go, I just want to again thank you all. So grateful for what you do as far as downloading each week, sharing us with friends. Please continue to put the word out there. For those that haven't subscribed, why not? It's free, and you have this automatically queued up in your podcast list each and every week. We'd love to share part of your Tuesday, Wednesday, each and every of the 52 weeks. We are here for you. This is your car community. We just happen to be in the driver's seat. So for now, I'll say drive well, be well, and take care.